Hi everyone, this is Dr. Shanmugapriya, your PrepLadder faculty for biochemistry. Now that the FMGE July 2023 exam results are out, here I am with a set of 5 smart tips that you can follow to crack the upcoming FMGE December 2023 exam. Let me begin by telling you what to expect in the upcoming paper. Obviously, the proportion of integrated, clinically oriented MCQs which expect you to demonstrate your ability to comprehend the information that is provided in the MCQ will be more. And this is purely based on our observations of the trend of MCQs that have been asked in the recent FMGE papers. For example, in FMGE June 2020, there was a one-liner on von Gierke's disease which expected you to just know that von Gierke's disease is caused by the defect of glucose 6-phosphatase. In the very next year, in FMGE 2021, the topic remained the same, but the question was a case-based MCQ. They had given you a set of clinical features and they expected you to make a diagnosis of von Gierke's disease. Which means for answering this MCQ, just a factual memory would not suffice. You should be able to comprehend the information and you should make a diagnosis of von Gierke's disease. Similarly, we know that electron transport chain inhibitor is a popular topic based on which questions get asked. But in the latest FMGE July 2023, there was an MCQ wherein they just gave you the description of a powder which inhibits electron transport chain, and that given you the purpose of that powder, they expected you to identify the powder and the level at which it acts. So, do you understand fact number 1 about what to expect? The topic would remain the same. The topic in which questions get asked will remain the same, but the form of MCQ would be different. But I also want to reiterate or emphasize the fact that it is not always going to be clinically integrated or applied MCQ. Even this July 2023 paper had its own share of one-liners. For example, they asked you this MCQ, the drug of choice for mountain sicknesses. It's a PYQ, it's a one-liner. Similarly, they also asked you, which of the following intermediates of citric acid cycle is formed from aspartate? So to answer your question, what to expect, the topic in which the question asked will be the same. The form of MCQ will be different. Number 2, the proportion of the MCQ which is integrated and clinically oriented will be more. Still, there will be always a share of one-liners. That being said, let me also tell you the brighter side of FMGE exam. We all know FMGE is a qualifying exam which has got one paper with 2 parts. Put together, you should be able to answer 300 MCQs in 300 minutes. But because it's a qualifying exam, the cutoff is just 50%. It is enough if you score 150 marks out of 300. What does this mean? This means, should you know everything about everything to clear FMGE exam? The answer is no, not necessary. But does this mean you should know everything about something? Would it be enough if you learn about like 12 subjects completely? That is again not enough. So what should you do? You should know something about everything. That is, you should learn all 20 subjects. Yes, I said it right. I said it as 20 subjects because I've included radiotherapy also as one of the subjects. So you should learn something about everything, and the weightage for every subject should be given based on the blueprint that was released by National Board of Examination and based on previous year question papers. And based on that, I would strongly recommend that you stratify or classify all 20 subjects into 3 categories. The first category is a high yielding subject category, which will include 4 subjects: medicine, surgery, OG and SPM, because in each of these subjects, you can expect approximately 30 MCQs each. And then low yielding subjects or minor subjects would include 6, and those 6 subjects include orthopedics, pediatrics, radiodiagnosis, radiotherapy. It also includes anesthesia and dermatology, because approximately in all these subjects, you can expect 5 MCQs each. The remaining 10 subjects are moderately yielding subjects, because in each of these 10 subjects, you can expect approximately 15 MCQs. I am repeatedly telling you that's only approximate because I'll give you an example. In the Jan 2023 exam, we had 16 MCQs in biochemistry, but in the latest July 2023 exam, there were only 10 MCQs in biochemistry. So the number keeps changing, but you can use this as a framework for you to have a schedule. So it's all about framing a schedule. If you're asking me why a schedule at all, because we all know the work expands to fill the time that you allot for it. So always frame a tight schedule and follow it. That is tip number 2. And how do we frame this schedule? That depends upon how long do we have from now. Now that we are already in August and we are aiming for the December 2023 exam, I am assuming that you have not touched the subject, touched any of the subjects. Even in that case, you will be able to crack FMGE December 2023, because how many months do you have from now? We have 3 months. And out of these 3 months, I would say that you will have to provide the last 1 month for revision. So now we have 2 months, 60 days. And what are we going to do with these 60 days? You're going to allot time based on the stratification which we already did. So for the minor subjects which I told you, the 6 minor subjects, you can allot 1.5 days each. And for the high yielding subjects which are medicine, surgery, OG and SPM, you can allot 5 days each. And for the moderately yielding subjects, the remaining 10 subjects, you can allot 3 days each. Again, I'm telling you, this is just a framework. You can keep changing the number of days that I've allotted. That depends upon your preference. For example, if you're a student who likes biochemistry, who's very strong in biochemistry, I know that is very rare. Hypothetically speaking, if you're a person who likes biochemistry, who thinks that you need a support only in genetics, then you can watch genetics videos. You can watch the comprehensive video for genetic for 1 day, and the next day you can just work out MCQs. You can finish biochemistry in 2 days, and you can allot the 3rd day for anatomy if you think you're weak in anatomy. So depending upon which subject is strong and which subject is weak for you, you can reframe the schedule. This is just an outline. And I also would like to tell you that external motivation like me can have only a momentary effect. It is all about the internal motivation that you develop for yourself. Just think that this is the last chance that is given to you to prove yourself to the whole world. I know you have already proved yourself multiple times, but I'm just telling you, just think that this is the last chance for you to prove yourself to the whole world. So be disciplined and follow this tight schedule, and that is smart tip number 2. Now, what is smart tip number 3? I know that most of you don't like this tip, but it is mandatory that you start writing grant tests. So when should we start writing grant tests? The day 1 you start preparing for your exam is the day when you start writing grant tests. And how frequently should you write a grant test? I would say for the first 2 months, when you're going to prime yourself with all 20 subjects, you should write 1 grant test for every 20 days. Which means in the first 2 months, you should have finished 3 grant tests. And in the last 1 month, which is devoted for revision, you should write 1 grant test for every 10 days. So totally, before you write your final exam, you should have finished 6 grant tests. And it's not just about the frequency in which you write the grant test. What is more important is the review that you do about your grant test. So how are we going to review? Suppose you write 1 grant test on day 1 and the next grant test on day 21. In the 20 days in between, you're going to allot the 300 MCQs. You divide those 300 MCQs and you finish 15 MCQs a day. What do I mean by finishing 15 MCQs a day? It's not like you looking at the question and checking the answer. It should be a comprehensive and conceptual understanding of all the 15 MCQs every day. So what are the advantages of writing grant tests and reviewing grant tests? There are 4 advantages. One is when you're simulating your final exam and when you're writing grant tests repeatedly, your time management becomes better. The second advantage is when you keep writing grant tests, you'll be very familiar with frequently asked topics. Third advantage, this is related to reviewing the paper. Because you're reviewing on a periodic basis, you will be in touch with all 20 subjects throughout. You don't have to worry about, I learned anatomy on day 1, I don't remember it today. Because you're always in touch with all 20 subjects because you're always reviewing the grant test. And the last advantage is, this is again related to your reviewing the paper. When you keep reviewing, you will understand the pattern in which you commit your mistakes. Everybody has got a unique pattern in which we commit mistakes. That being said, so these are the advantages of writing and reviewing grant tests. How does PrepLadder help you in this? In PrepLadder, we have previous year question papers. We have last few year question papers. You can take 1 year question paper, write it as a grant test. And every previous year question paper is solved for you. So you'll be able to review the paper using those previous year papers. So PrepLadder resources, please utilize optimally and effectively. Now, what is the next step? We have discussed about 3 tips already. Now, what is a smart tip number 4? It is about notes. I know you all have a mind-boggling question whether to write notes or to use printed notes. I would say writing note will take off your time and will take off your energy. You can use printed notes. And that is why on PrepLadder, we have printed notes for both comprehensive videos as well as for rapid revision videos. The good news is rapid revision notes will be released in the month of September. So depending upon which video you're watching, you can use the respective notes and you can finish that cycle. And I also know that you all want a 20th notebook, which should be a comprehension of all the facts that you have learned, right? So for that choti copy or for that 20th notebook, we have an alternative, which is a Ready Reckoner, which is a PrepLadder Treasures. So PrepLadder Treasures is an amalgamation of whatever you want. It includes flashcards. It includes mind maps. It also includes flowcharts. So as and when you finish a topic, you can take this Ready Reckoner book or the PrepLadder Treasure and you can have a look at all those points and you can refresh your memory every now and then. So that's about strategy number 4, which is about notes. Use printed notes of both comprehensive videos as well as of rapid revision videos. Also use PrepLadder's Treasures. Now, what is the last strategy? Last but not the least, choose an appropriate resource for every subject. I know we all have our own individual preferences to the way of teaching. So you can choose any resource, but the point is choose the resource in such a way that it helps you in understanding the subject conceptually and in a clinically integrated manner. And PrepLadder's comprehensive videos, all recorded comprehensive and rapid revision videos are aligned to help you to understand the subject conceptually in a clinically integrated manner. Not just about the videos, we also have QBank 5.0. QBank 5.0 is the #1 in the country to have maximum number of clinically case-based MCQs. So when you start answering all those MCQs, your brain gets aligned. It gets tuned to have higher order thinking and to be able to comprehend the information. And these are the 2 abilities that are expected for you to answer a case-based MCQ or an image-based MCQ. So to summarize, what are the 5 smart tips that you all have to follow? Smart tip number 1, try to learn something about all 20 subjects. Number 2, have a tight schedule and follow the tight schedule. Tip number 3, write grant tests, 6 grant tests before you write your final exam. Tip number 4, notes, use comprehensive notes and rapid revision notes and also use PrepLadder's Treasures. And final tip number 5, use an appropriate resource which helps you to answer a case-based MCQ, to answer an image-based MCQ. That will be based on how clinically integrated your learning is of the subject. Please remember, FMGE is a qualifying exam with no negative marking. So remain positive, stay motivated, and together let's crack it. Thank you.